This national news edition originates from VK1WIA and is rebroadcast throughout Australia and around the world under a common licence published on the WIA website. This WIA national news service is copyright to the Wireless Institute of Australia, and rebroadcast is authorised only under the provisions of that common licence. WIA Director and Company Secretary Peter Cleve, VK8ZZ.
From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
In WIA National News this week, a note in from Grant, VK5GR, to advise he will explain the WIA TAC band plan consultation live on Hayden VK7HH's YouTube channel, 7:30pm Australian Eastern Daylight Time, Monday, December 1. December 7 is the WIA Affiliated Clubs Briefing Webinar. WIA Director and Company Secretary Peter Cleve, VK8ZZ, with all that's going on at WIA HQ, and Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, Editor-in-Chief of Amateur Radio Magazine, with part 2 of all that's going on in AR Magazine. Plus, I'll ask the question, what has 5,000 batteries and floats? But wait, there's more, much more, in this edition of news from the Wireless Institute of Australia for week commencing Sunday, November 30, 2025. I'm Editor Graham, VK4BB.
Ham Radio News. Nobody does it better. We are VK1WIA.
Well, the election for 3 of the directors of the WIA is already upon us. As the WIA returning officer has told us, all nominations close on the 16th of December this year. Details are available in the November-December edition of Amateur Radio Magazine. The election will be conducted by electronic means and will be conducted in January-February of 2026. For those members who wish to do a postal vote, the application form is on the WIA news pages. Applications for a postal vote close on the 24th of December. The webinar for WIA affiliated club presidents will be held next Sunday, the 7th of December at 4:30pm Eastern Summertime. The WIA affiliated clubs coordinator, Angelo, will be sending out an agenda and a Teams invitation in the next few days. This has been WIA Director and Company Secretary Peter Cleve, VK8ZZ.
Back again. This is Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, Editor-in-Chief of Amateur Radio Magazine. The electronic edition of Issue 6 was posted on the WIA website on Monday last. With the issue's theme being outdoors, offshore and on the air, we have further articles under that beach umbrella. Greg Mew, VK4GRM, goes offshore to enthuse about his experiences over 3 days last June while attending the annual German ham radio equivalent to USA's Dayton, known as Messe Friedrichshafen. In German, Messe means fair, as in a county fair. With nearly 12,000 visitors attending this year from 52 countries across the globe, Messe Friedrichshafen is Europe's largest ham radio event. Moving on to an on-the-air topic, the Bayside District Amateur Radio Society from Brisbane sent us a story about the club's remote HF station, how a dream became a reality. Bayside is not the first club to set up a remote HF station, but the club members got together and wrote an article that gives us something of the inside story. Even this issue's op-ed article covers an on-the-air topic dear to many amateurs' hearts and minds. The regime of compliance with RF exposure limits we all suffer under. Never mind the abortive 1 kilowatt high RF power trial from over a decade ago. Firstly, op-ed is an old newspaper term, short for opposite the editorial page, usually meaning a probably contentious article airing a writer's strongly focused opinion on an issue of relevance to readers, but not necessarily aligned with the publisher's policies. Dr. George Galanis, VK3EIP, relates his experiences asking answers of the ACMA trying to understand just what Australian amateurs have to comply with and why aren't candidates for an amateur qualification examined on it. That's it from me this week. Again, this issue has been brought to you by numbers greater than 5 and by the letter O. Amateur Radio Magazine, devoted entirely to everything amateur radio. I'm Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, for VK1WIA News.
We are VK1WIA. Now, international news with VK2LAW Jason.
Hello. Several well-known radio amateurs are among recipients of this year's honours from the Radio Club of America, RCA, an organisation of both professionals and amateurs that has been promoting advancements in wireless communication for more than 100 years. The awards were announced in the fall 2025 issue of RCA Proceedings. Among the amateurs recognised this year by RCA are Julio Ripoll, Whiskey Delta 4 Romeo, long-time amateur radio coordinator at the National Hurricane Centre, recognised for his service at WX4 NHC with the Barry Goldwater Amateur Radio Award, and Dr. Christina Collins, Kilo Delta 8 Oscar X-Ray Tango, this year's recipient of the Carol Perry WB2 MGP Young Professional Award. Dr. Christina is the Chief Operations Scientist for the Hamsai Personal Space Weather Station Network. She also voices announcements heard each hour on WWV and WWVH as part of WWVH Scientific Modulation Working Group. The US Space Agency NASA is taking a close look at the serious damage that disabled the largest antenna at its Deep Space Network site in California 2 months ago. The 230-foot antenna, which tracks near-Earth asteroids and communicates with NASA's interplanetary spacecraft, has been out of service since the 16th of September. The antenna suffered an excessive rotation that strained its cabling and piping and damaged its fire suppression system, which led to water damage and flooding, according to a report on the Gizmodo website. The damaged antenna, prized for its sensitivity, received its first signal in 1966 from NASA's Mariner 4 mission. In preparation for Voyager 2's mission towards Neptune, NASA upgraded the antenna width from 210 feet or 64 metres to 230 feet or 70 metres. It communicated as well with Voyager 1 in 2012 following the spacecraft's entry into interstellar space. Meanwhile, NASA relies on 2 other deep space communication antennas. They are located in Madrid, Spain, and near Canberra, here in Australia. The IARU Region 1 Intruder Watch Service newsletter note that hardly a month goes by without the appearance of new signals, which add to the long list of known emissions and intrusions on our amateur radio bands. The newsletter reports with concern that our HF amateur radio bands are increasingly being used as a testing environment for new military-related systems and electronic warfare approaches. The free report can be downloaded from the Monitoring Systems section of the IARU website located at iaru-r1.org. Weird and wonderful and declassified. It's been 88 years since Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan disappeared over the South Pacific, but until now the records of the search have remained classified. The records consist of photostats and copies of photostats of records relating to plans for the around-the-world flight, including a letter written by Earhart to President Franklin Roosevelt where she outlines her proposed route and notes that she will need to refuel over the Pacific. Earhart was friends with the Roosevelts, in particular Eleanor, the First Lady. On one occasion, the pair ducked out of a state dinner to go flying, both dressed in evening gowns. The purpose of the letter was to ask the President to use his influence to gain the cooperation of the US Navy during her flight. The last authentic transmission for Earhart, according to the report, came at 08:55, heading north and south. In the days that followed, there were reports of ham radio operators on the US West Coast and as far inland as Montana, picking up radio transmissions allegedly from the Lockheed Electra. Some were more credible than others. One received by the HMS Achilles, 225 miles north-northwest of Howland, was reported as Putman-Fly Kite, which was encouraging because part of the safety equipment aboard the Lockheed was a bright orange box kite with a special antenna to boost radio signals. The Lockheed company was sceptical of the reports that stated the airplane was in the water, as although the aircraft was designed to float with empty fuel tanks provided they were not compromised, the aircraft's normal radio power supply would not work if the airplane was in the water. For WIA National News, in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK1WIA.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, operational news with Felix, VK4FUQ.
Hello there. November 29-30, this weekend. The CQWW is the largest amateur radio competition in the world. Starts 0000 hours UTC Saturday, ends 23:59 hours UTC Sunday. Following weekend of December 5 to 7, here's the running of the ARRL 160 metres CW contest. This for amateurs worldwide to exchange information with W/VE amateurs on 160 metres CW. DX2DX QSOs do not count for contest credit. Stations located in overseas and non-contiguous US territories may be worked by DX stations. This includes Alaska, KL7, the Caribbean, US possessions, KP1 to KP5, and all the Pacific Ocean territories, KH0, KH9, including Hawaii, KH6. These stations can work both domestic stations, US and VE, as well as DX stations around the world. As with each and every contest you take part in, make sure your logging software is up to date before the contest to be sure it will accept these QSOs. Dates again, first full weekend in December, that is December 5 to 7, 2025. Contest period begins 2200 hours UTC Friday, ends 15:59 hours UTC Sunday. This is a 42-hour period with no time limitation. Also, December 6 to 7 is the 2025 CalBar DX contest. The CalBar contest is held by OR-ARI West Kalimantan region, coinciding with the 39th anniversary of OR-ARI West Kalimantan region in 2025. Purpose and objectives: improve skills among OR-ARI members throughout Indonesia while establishing a spirit of kinship, strengthening brotherhood and upholding the sportsmanship of the Indonesian Radio Amateur Contest. Participants are OR-ARI members who have a valid amateur radio license. Indonesian radio amateurs are expected to make as many contacts as possible with stations from within and outside the country. All band: 80, 40, 20, 15, 10 metre band, no arc band. Mode and exchange: SSB 59 plus serial number 001. Year to contest December. The Fisher's Coast Amateur Radio Club are hosting the inaugural VK Yoda contest the entire month of December. Now contest-wise 2026. 1st of January 2026 NZART Centenary 100 QSO Challenge. To celebrate the start of the 2026 NZART Centenary year by making 100 QSOs with amateur radio stations in 24 hours. QSO Party Day contest organised by Marconi Club is scheduled for Saturday, January the 3rd. The purpose of the event is to introduce the club and CW to the younger generations. Further information may be found at marconiClub.it. Jock Memorial Field Day, February 28, Saturday and Sunday, March 1st. May, Harry Angel Memorial Sprint, May 2nd. Now let's open the DX window to the world. Following is cancelled. Team S21 STX from deep inside the Sundarbans, organised by Bangladesh Amateur Radio Club Khulna, is cancelled due to unexpected circumstances, the team says. The current conditions no longer allow us to safely and effectively carry out the S21D expedition as intended. Special Event Station GB130WRD is active until today, the 30th of November, to mark the 130th anniversary of the discovery of X-rays. Recently the station was spotted using FT8 on the 40-metre band. QSL directly to M0KZT. See QRZ.com for more information. The 310K team has added a skilled medical and support team for the 2026 Booby expedition. 6 experienced professionals, one of them is HB9 FKF, in medicine, security, evacuation, and emergency situations, will assist with camp setup, maintenance, safety, and weather monitoring. The team is ramping up preparations to depart from Cape Town in February. LA7 GIA reports, in 2 weeks we plan to make the next payments, totaling $650,000 USD. By then, they will have invested approximately $1,650,000 USD in the Booby expedition. For WIA National News, I'm Felix VK4FUQ Inningham.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, Special Interest Group News with Cole, VK3GTV.
Hello, first cab off the rank in Worldwide Special Interest Group News this week. It's astronomy and wireless weather. Ever wondered what MUF, TEC or what sporadic ES are when you look at the space weather prediction charts? In February, the REAST presentation night is for you. Roger Harrison, VK2ZRH, will guide both live visitors and those connected via the REAST YouTube channel through real science and practical techniques behind understanding radio propagation and space weather. With decades of experience, including his time at the IPS, Ionospheric Prediction Service, Roger brings significant expertise in this space, pun intended. This presentation will unpack the tools and data sources we amateurs rely on every day. This session will give you the skills to read the sky like a pro. The session will be in person and streamed from 7:30 p.m. in Queen's Domain clubrooms. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Balloons. Pico Balloon News. The high-altitude Pico balloon ZS1ERZ-12 completed its 8th circumnavigation of our planet on Monday the 17th of November. As of Friday the 21st of November 2025, it's been 96 days since the launch and the balloon has travelled over 272,000 kilometres. During this lap, it spent a few days near the Antarctica station DP0GVN. From there it headed north to the Indian Ocean. However, when last heard, it was again travelling southeast towards Antarctica. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Digital. It's being heralded as a milestone in the long-overdue evolution of speech quality for land mobile radio systems, the use of an adaptive neural network that replaces traditional signal processing. This digital voice milestone was announced at the recent Acoustics and Speech Conference in California, where the Free DV Project's David Rowe, VK5DGR, co-presented a paper describing a neural network that replaces traditional signal processing with machine learning. In a recent post on the FreeDV website, David called the development the first known real-world development of a neural codec, an important milestone that the ham community can be proud of. He and programmer Jean-Marc Valen presented the details to attendees at the IEEE Signal Processing Society conference, where David said it was well received. Instead of using the fixed algorithms of traditional digital voice, the FreeDV radio encoder, known as RAID V1, employs fully adaptive machine learning, producing a higher quality result developed using open-source software. Writing as a guest contributor to the Amateur Radio Digital Communications website in October, David noted that the technology provides unprecedented speech quality and robustness for VHF-UHF land mobile radio applications. Now a quick look at IOTA. Islands on the Air. Holger ZL3IO is active again as ZL7IO from Chatham Islands, OC038, now until the 4th of December, including an entry in this weekend's CQWW DXCW contest. QSL via LOTW, Club Logs OQRS, or via DK7AO. Lasse DL9LU is the IT engineer and radio operator of the new overwintering team at Neumeier 3 Station, Antarctica, AN016. He arrived on the 18th of November and will remain there until shortly before Christmas 2026. Yes, Christmas 2026. He'll be active as DP0GVN. QSL for contacts via Club Logs OQRS, LOTW, or via DL4BBH. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Military. The Hunt Valley, Maryland Amateur Radio Club of the National Electronics Museum will commemorate 2025 Pearl Harbor Day and the role of electronics in World War II, December 1 to 11, 1300 Zulu to 2200 Zulu. Primary operation will be December 1 to 7, with additional operation possible December 8 to 11 as operator availability permits. Special event station W2W will operate on 14.241, 14.041, 7.241 and 7.041 MHz. Operation on 80 metres, 3.541 and 3.841 MHz, and digital modes as possible during the event. Certificates are available via a SASE. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Amateur Old and Young Timers. Ellen, VK2COD, is first up.
Thank you, Cole. Only a short time to go for the last month of the year, December. Yes, December is our big month for Yodas. Yoda month is when many of we youngsters from member associates will become active on the air with Yoda as suffix in the call signs. From 0000 UTC on Monday 1 December to 23:59 UTC on Wednesday 31 December, international Yoda stations that will be operated by young amateurs will be calling to make contacts worldwide with each other and you. This event is aimed at our young generation who are under 26 years of age to get involved with amateur radio. It is an excellent opportunity for clubs to connect with youngsters who are interested in or want to find out more about amateur radio. The clubs then can get them on the air for Yoda month. Instead of being a formal contest, this is an informal way to get our current young hams on the air, contacting hundreds of other youngsters around the world. Over in South Africa, their SARL has registered the special call sign ZS9 Yoda on the Yoda website for clubs and individuals during the month of December. All radio amateurs are welcome to enjoy a QSO with the youngsters. Please note that many of us Yodas are new to the radio hobby, while others are more experienced. And remember, here in VK, the Fisher's Ghost Amateur Radio Club is hosting the very first VK Yoda contest. And now, from this Yoda to our respected Peter, VK7PD, over to you, Peter, for news about amateur radio old-timers.
Hello everyone, this is Peter, VK7PD, reminding you that tomorrow is the first Monday of the month. Time for the Radio Amateurs Old Timers Club of Australia's December Bulletin to go to air. This month, as well as the latest club news, first up is an article by Bill, VK3BR, on a discussion on the AVO moving coil multimeter. This will be followed by an article read by Clive, VK6CSW, who will tell us about the world's first telegraph network. In addition, there will be details of the upcoming final Perth RAOTC luncheon for 2025. A reminder that there is no RAOTC broadcast in January. The first broadcast for 2026 will be on February 2. Everyone, RAOTC members and non-members alike, is most welcome to listen to the program and join in the callbacks afterwards. Full details of all transmissions, times and modes can be found on the RAOTC website at www.raotc.org.au or just Google RAOTC broadcasts. If none of the transmission times suit you, you can download the audio file at any time from today from the club's website. Once again, tune in tomorrow for the December RAOTC Bulletin. Enjoy the program and please join in the callbacks afterwards. 73 from Peter, VK7PD.
Thanks, Peter and Alan. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Scouting. VK7 Scouting Clark Trophy 2025. The 2025 Sir Ernest Clark Trophy once again proved just how crucial amateur radio is when young people head bush for 24 hours of scouting challenge. This long-running event, now more than 90 years old, brought together 7 self-managing scout patrols and around 60 scouts and leaders at Rockton, west of Oatlands. With camping, navigation, construction, hygiene, first aid and much more on the program, the Clark Trophy depends on reliable communications to run safely, efficiently and with the kind of calm oversight only radio can deliver. This year's site offered the perfect terrain for a radio-heavy event. A high central hill provided an excellent vantage point for the amateur radio headquarters, allowing operators to monitor handheld UHF CB patrol radios across the entire property. Scouts used those radios to move from activity point to activity point, reporting their progress, locations and camp coordinates using GPS, maps and basic radio procedure trained for ahead of time. Amateur operators maintained a 3-channel system, 2 UHF CB channels for activity and patrol traffic and a dedicated 2-metre amateur frequency linking headquarters with base. Both HQ and base ran 24-hour coverage, logging every transmission, providing location checks and standing ready for emergency calls that thankfully never came. Throughout the night and day, leaders frequently checked on patrol positions and radio operators were able to provide accurate sit reps and campsite details to keep scoring and inspections moving smoothly. Oh, and for the record, the Lindisfarne Scout Group claimed the 2025 Clark Trophy and flag, and every participant walked away with a badge, including the radio operators who helped keep the whole adventure safe, connected and running without a hitch. Well done, everybody. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Rescue Radio. USA Skywarn Recognition Day 2025 cancelled. NOAA's National Weather Service has announced the cancellation of Skywarn Recognition Day 2025. The necessary time and resources required to plan a comprehensive national event for Skywarn Recognition Day 2025 are not available this year. Thus, the difficult decision was made to cancel this year's event by the NWS. However, the National Weather Service will work with ARRL and Skywarn spotters to brainstorm ideas to redevelop a spotter appreciation event next year. ARRL, which has a Memorandum of Understanding with NWS, emphasised the strength of the long-standing partnership behind the event. And that's the latest Worldwide Special Interest Group news for this week. Till next time, take care. I'm Cole, VK3GTV.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions. www.wia.org.au.
It's at 8 and right across VK. December 1 at 7:30pm, that's Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Hayden, VK7HH YouTube channel. Grant, VK5GR will appear. He'll do a live stream walkthrough and question and answer of the WIA TAC band plan consultation. He'll be looking at each of the different aspects of the proposal and breaking them down into why WIA are proposing various changes. And just a week later, it's the WIA Affiliated Clubs Briefing webinar. So now until next we meet, I am Graham, I am VK4BB. Walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK1WIA's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.